We've got some breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. The most insane quarterback two battle we have ever seen has officially come to an end. The San Francisco 49ers have named their QB2, and on top of that, dropped some additional bombshells. Woo-hoo-hoo! Boy, was not expecting this today. We got a lot of stuff to get into. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. We're going to get into it all right now. Oh boy, smash that like button, drop an SDS in the chat. Let's get into it. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. Here, shout out, we got IG in the building, we got Facebook, we're streaming to YouTube, we're streaming to them all. So as you already know, you've heard the news. Oh boy, the San Francisco 49ers have officially named their backup quarterback. It will be Sam Daronold backing up 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy, who, as we know, is going to be the starter. But, I was not expecting this news today. I'm sitting over here waiting for Nick Bosa news to drop, and we get this. We find out that the 49ers have officially named Sam Daronold as the QB2, but that's not the only news. That's just part of the news. I think the second portion of this news might even be just as crazy as, just kind of going back and forth over who QB2 is going to be. Is it going to be Sam? Is it going to be Trey? Is it going to be Brock? Who's going to be the quarterback? The crazy news that we've heard from right now is Trey Lance is on the block. Trey Lance is officially on the trade block as per Ian Rappaport. This is what Rap Sheet said. He said, Sam Daronold has played well in camp, grabbing the opportunity behind Brock Purdy. He's earned it. No doubt this will be a decision Trey Lance will take hard. SF will now explore options with him. No, not just, Trey Lance is going to be your quarterback 3. No. It's not just, Trey Lance is going to be quarterback 3. It's SF will now explore option with him. Prior to the draft, there were a few trade discussions. We heard about that from the Mike Silver article. Apparently, the 49ers were given, I believe, a 5th-round draft pick or offered a 5th-round draft pick for Trey Lance, which obviously at the time felt like a non-starter. And Ian Rappaport goes on to say, perhaps those will pick up. So I think that's one of the crazier developments. Like, I could see where it was trending, so I'm not super surprised by this decision. I know a lot of people with the performance from Trey Lance against the Denver Broncos, leading the game-winning drive, really felt that Trey Lance should be quarterback 2, and I totally understand that. For me, being at training camp, watching the entire preseason, I could see where things were trending towards. So me personally, I'm not super taken off guard by this. I'm taken off guard by the timing, and I'm a little bit taken off guard by the fact that they're openly discussing Trey Lance basically being on the block for a trade. So that's pretty interesting. I was not expecting this today. I really did believe, we talked about it in my film breakdown. I felt like the 49ers would be well suited heading into this season with Brock, Trey, and Sam. As we know, the 49ers have dealt with tons of quarterback injuries throughout Kyle Shanahan's time. So having 3 capable quarterbacks felt like a good problem to me. Felt like, hey, we could have an opportunity here that, you just never know. You never know how things are going to pan out. A lot of people still have questions on Sam Daronold. You could see Trey Lance working through his development, getting back and all, all that type of stuff. So to me, it felt like it was, you know, maybe ideal to keep all three, but maybe part of the thought process is, hey, it's becoming too big of a distraction. So that could be the other part of it. It's really really interesting though to see this information come out because it did feel like we weren't going to figure this out until Friday's game, this preseason game coming up. But boy, this is again, it's twofold wild. It's twofold wild that hey, okay, Trey Lance lost the QB2 job to Sam Darnold, and I know a lot of people have a lot of feelings about that. But I think also the other aspect of it is the fact that he's openly on the block now. He's openly available for anyone to offer and trade for, which is crazy. And let's talk about this just for a second. Like, I can totally understand if you have questions about Trey's game, if you have questions about where Trey is in his maturation process and his development and all that type of stuff from a football perspective. But man, I feel for Trey, the guy. 23 years old, the weight of the world that was placed on his shoulders, being the number 3 overall pick, trading up to go get Trey, and then just the injuries, it not panning out, losing now his job, to Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold. I got to feel for the guy, man. Like, I can understand if you got a football take, right? Like you're trying to rationalize this from a football perspective. I can understand that, but I would just say from a human element, like, man, I feel for Trey, dude. Like, I just hope for Trey, like, what he can do is take this, continue to build off it, wherever he's playing. It clearly doesn't feel like it's going to be with the San Francisco 49ers, but wherever he ends up playing, he's still super, super young. He still has a bright future ahead of him as long as he can continue to work, put his head down, and continue to grind, continue to improve, continue to build his confidence. I just think that's really the biggest thing with Trey. It's just to build his confidence up and go out there and just be confident in his ability to go out and deal. I think that's really what it comes down to, man. Like, when we see Trey confident in that pocket, the ball comes out, like, he looks nice, he goes through his progressions, and I think that's what a lot of people saw in that Denver game. They started to see Trey Lance kind of settle in and be able to make those plays and do all those types of things. So I feel bad for Trey the person, man. Like, I can understand it from multiple different perspectives. You've got an organizational perspective, you got an on-field coaching perspective, you have fan perspective. There's multiple perspectives at play here. You have the individual's perspective. So I can understand what the team's doing. I again, as someone who was at training camp and has watched this entire preseason, I'm not surprised by the decision. I could definitely see it trending this direction, and it really wasn't hard to see. You could absolutely see it trending in this direction. Um, but again, I think the biggest surprise for me is the open discussion of Trey being on the block. That I wasn't expecting that. You know what I'm saying? Like, uh, I was expecting that, Sam was probably going to get the quarterback 2 spot, but clearly the 49ers are trying to figure out what they're going to do. So my assumption is kind of like what we've kind of looked at the quarterback situation throughout, right? We've looked at it as we could see the structure happening in training camp because it was Brock Purdy getting all the ones. So we were told and clued in early on in training camp that Brock Purdy was quarterback 1. So that was abundantly clear that Brock is quarterback 1, and we found that out right away. So all throughout training camp, we had Sam Darnold and Trey Lance rotating. So one day Sam would go with the ones, One day Trey would go with the ones because remember, every third day Brock Purdy sat out. So it gave each one of these guys an opportunity to run with the ones, and they split those. And then every other day they also alternated those. So I would say they got a fair shot. I would say both Trey Lance and Sam Darnold got equal opportunity at reps, at running with ones, at running with twos, running with threes. But what you could see in training camp is that the reason why Brandon Allen, I believe, is here is because I do think Brandon Allen could be the QB3. I do think they feel if they can trade Trey or trade whoever lost the QB2 battle, that's kind of what it felt like. It felt like Brock's our starter, Brandon Allen's our third guy, and we got to figure out what's happening between Trey and Sam. And whoever wins that battle might find themselves on the outside looking in. So you could see that set up in training camp. I didn't know if that was really how they were going to do it or how that's how they were going to operate it, but that's clearly what it appears to be. So it's definitely a weird situation. It's unprecedented, I would say. I'm not sure, I've been a fan of the NFL for a long time. I've been, of course, a fan of the 49ers for a very long time. I'm not sure I've seen an off-season like situation like this where the quarterback two battle was like one of the main conversations all throughout the offseason. You have two former number 3 overall picks battling out for the quarterback 2 spot behind Mr. Irrelevant. This is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I've been talking about it all off season. I cannot wait for the 30 for 30 on this year, on Kyle Shanahan's tenure. It's just been we've had success. We've been so close. We've been to the mountaintop. We've fallen down the other side. We've been so close, but with all the we've just been searching. We've been searching for that quarterback. We've been searching for that guy. It feels like we found him in Brock Purdy. So Brock Purdy's going to be the guy, and I fully support that. I really do. Again, I talk about it. I was at training camp, and you could see that Brock was the best quarterback on the field, even coming back from the severe injury that he had. So for me, that became abundantly clear that every day Brock Purdy improved. He got better. You could easily see he was not going to be giving up that quarterback 1 spot. So I'm fine with that. I got no issues with that. Brock's earned it. Brock has gone out and performed. He's done it. So I got no problems with that. I really don't. I got no problems with Brock being QB1. It was just an interesting scenario to see how quarterback 2 would play out. Oh boy, what a time to be alive right now. Chris dropping a super chat on YouTube says, any chance this has anything to do with cap space and re-signing Bosa? I would say no, because when they are going to extend Nick Bosa, the cap hit won't account this year. You push the cap hit out. So the cap hit this year has nothing to do with it. So I don't think that this move has anything to do with Bosa. Bosa is going to be able to sign. That cap hit will not impact this season. They push the cap hit out. So I don't think this has nothing to do with Nick Bosa. Not even a thought, not even nothing. Has nothing to do with Nick Bosa. So if I could understand why you would think it could be something to do with that, because I believe Trey Lance carries about a $10 million cap hit right now. So I would understand why that would be a question and why that would be a thought process. But from my understanding of how contract extensions work, they are going to be able to push the cap out past this year. There won't be really too much of an effect on the cap. If you extend Bosa, it will be pushed back. So man, This is crazy. And I think they're getting ready to go practice right now. Like, I don't think they practiced yet today. So I think they're all about to go out onto the field. Man, dude, like, again, I get it. Football is a business, and it's always a business first. And that's how it's always going to be. Obviously, the product on the field, you want to win. Um, and you want to go out there and you want to perform and do all those types of things. But at the end of the day, there's a fine line between football and business, and this feels like a business decision. It feels like, I was talking about this last week, um, just of the sense of, if Trey is your quarterback 3, is this team willing to deal with the distraction of Trey? Not that it's Trey's fault. I don't think it's Trey's fault at all. But the topic of Trey has become a distraction. You have the entire national media piling on. They talk about it every day. It's one of the main topics. Even when he does decently well against the Denver Broncos, they still crap on him. That's going to be questions that are going to be asked to the locker room. They're going to be constantly asked about Trey. They're going to be constantly asked about this, about that. And I said, at what point does this become a distraction? And at what point does this become a detriment to the 49ers image, bottom line, all that type of stuff? So that's kind of how I'm reading it. If Sam is the quarterback 2 and Trey's the quarterback 3, it feels like at this point, that's kind of what they feel like is going to be the outcome. And hold on one second. Ho 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 boy, just in right now, breaking some more breaking news. Trey Lance is not at practice. They're practicing right now. Trey Lance is not at practice. Wow. This is a crazy scenario, guys. This is unprecedented. We've never seen anything like this. Not only with the 49ers, I have not seen anything like this in the NFL since I've been a fan of the NFL. I really started paying attention to the NFL back in like 08, 09, like following everything off season, draft, all the way through. I've never seen anything like this. There have been a lot of crazy things to go on. It happens. The NFL is fluid. It's unforgiving, and it's a machine. So you either fit in or you get chewed up and spit out. So I understand that. But dang, Trey Lance is not at practice today, which signifies the end is near. Wow, that's kind of crazy. King Geo says, whoever says fire Kyle can leave when Trey does. That's a super chat from King Geo. Again, it's just this is a wild scenario, man. Like, it's just a wild scenario all the way around. And again, Trey not being at practice today signifies that, yeah, his time with this team is probably over. That we've heard like some murmurs and some conversations, like, could Trey be cut? Could this happen? Could that happen? The fact right now that Trey Lance is not at practice, again, not a good look for the Trey will be quarterback 3 of this team moving forward. Again, with the information that we've received, that Trey is on the block, right? That's abundantly clear. They've said Trey's on the block without saying Trey's on the block. He's on the block to be traded. And the fact that he's not at practice doubles down that he is not on the block. Wow, that is crazy. Shout out to all. I got like over 300 people here on Instagram. Shout out to, we got about 500 people on YouTube and Facebook. You guys on Instagram, I got to shut down because I got to post some stuff. But if you guys want to continue the conversation, we are live right now on YouTube. If you want to make the great migration over to YouTube, the SF Niners on YouTube, we are live right now. There's still more information coming out. We're going to keep talking about it. We're going to keep reacting to it. So right now, head on over to YouTube. I'm going to shut down the IG live, but we are on YouTube right now. We're going to keep the conversation going. So if you do make the great migration over from IG to YouTube or Facebook, let me know. I'll shout you guys out when you pull up, but I'm going to hop out of here right now. Appreciate you guys. This is crazy stuff that we got. All right. I am shutting down Instagram. Oh, boy, dude. This is nuts. Shout out to all the family coming over from IG, making the great migration. We see some of you guys popping in. Shout out to my IG family. We see you guys. Again, there's a lot of mixed emotions here with all this information, and again, it's developing in real time. Wow, this is crazy, bro. Like, this is nuts. 49ers Trey Lance is not on hand to begin practice today. Bro, I feel so bad. Like, again, I'm not surprised by this decision. I know some people are. I'm personally not surprised by this, but I just feel bad, man. Like, at the end of the day, this is someone's son. This is someone's brother. I feel bad for the person. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel bad for Trey. Like this is just a public spectacle at this point of him basically losing his job and getting thrown out, from the franchise that drafted him, which, again, business is business. I understand it, but whew, man, I feel bad for Trey, dude. I feel bad for Trey. That is just not fun. It's not fun at all. So, man, was that? I think the question that we ask now is, was that Trey Lance's last game that we've seen him in a 49er jersey? Was that Denver Bronco preseason game? Was that the last time that we saw Trey Lance in a 49ers jersey? Yeah, this has so many different levels to it. It's not just, damn, there's so many different levels to this. It's not just Trey, losing his job, man. He might be out. Like, out. He might be out on of the 49ers. He might not be here week 1. Which is insane. He might not be here week 1. Man, we've heard a lot of rumors. We've heard a lot of stuff. Will Trey Lance be cut? Will he be here? Man, it's really starting to trend towards Trey's not going to be here, man. Velo says Trey deserves better. Again, like I said, I understand the business side of it, which is a different element. But, man, I feel for the kid, dude. Like, I feel for Trey, just the person. I feel for Trey, the person, man. I feel for the person, dude. Like, this got to be so tough. Again, he's 23 years old, bro. Like, again, I'm an old head now. I'm what am I? I'm 34 now, so I'm an old head. Going through all of this type of public scrutiny and this type of pressure at 23 years old, I would crumble personally. Um, man, this is crazy. This is crazy. All right, I'm gonna get through some of these super chats. Anyone else hear the thunderstorm coming? Is this related to Trey Lance? or is this just a general weather update? I don't know if this is like a disguised I don't know if this is a disguise like I don't know. It's nice and sunny where I'm at. So I don't know. I don't see any thunder. Eric says if Kyle and John don't win the Super Bowl this year and Trey goes out and succeeds, they should be fired. Now, I've seen a lot of this in the chat already. I've seen a lot of people wanting to fire Kyle, and for this, we got to call it what it is. This trade was awful. It was awful. It did not turn well at all. Trading everything that they gave up to go get Trey, and for the 49ers to be out on Trey after 4 games, man, that sucks. Like, I mean, that sucks, right? Like, so from that perspective, this will go down as one of the worst draft trades in NFL history. There's no running away from that. Okay? Like, we got to call it is what it is. This will go down as one of the worst draft trades of all time because of what was given up and what the outcome was. But the reality is Kyle and John have done enough despite that perceived miss to be secure. So I understand that people want heads to roll for this situation. I can rationalize that. But at the end of the day, Kyle and John have done enough to secure their spots and come out beyond this. They still have their starting quarterback. They found Brock Purdy. It just happened to he just happened to come with the last pick in the draft. And so listen, like, I get it. The expectations are already Super Bowl, right? So we already want this team to go to the Super Bowl. We already expect them to go to the Super Bowl. That has not changed for me. For me personally, I expect this team to go to the Super Bowl. I expect them to go all the way, and I want them to win it. That's the expectation for this year. That doesn't change. However, when you look at Kyle and John holistically and what they've done from a roster building standpoint, culture building standpoint, staff building standpoint, all of it, they have done way more positive than being defined for missing on Trey. Do they need to be held accountable? Sure, fine. You can hold their feet to the fire and you can say you guys made a absolutely terrible trade to go up and get one of the rawest quarterback prospects we've ever seen and then not develop him. Totally understand that. But I also do believe that the 49ers right now and this front office have done enough to secure their place. So I can understand wanting to can them, but at the end of the day, I personally, this is my opinion, I don't want to see a scenario where we fire Kyle and John and we replace them with who? Who are we bringing in? That's always the question. It's really easy to fire someone in your head, but what's not easy is being able to replace that person and replace that because a new culture's coming in. That means Chris Kosarek, gone. He's out of here. Chris Forrester, gone. All these coaches that you like and love outside of Kyle, they're gone. That culture that we talk about within this locker room, that's gone. Some of your favorite players, they're gone. It's a reset. if you fire Kyle and John. And I don't want that. I don't want that. I can understand that you being upset and you want someone to be held accountable for just whiffing on Trey. Understandable. I get that. But I don't think firing them is the answer. I don't. They can be held accountable in whatever way you want. But I'm not firing those guys because I'm not resetting this franchise back to the Jim Tom Sula era. I'm not doing that. So I've been there, I've done that, and I will not do it again. And that's what's coming our way, if that's what we think the answer is. King Geo says these fake fans will turn their back on the coach who brought us from trash for a guy who got picked throwing a screen pass. Listen, again, everyone has mixed emotions, right? Everyone, like most people, you're always going to have people who feel differently, but most people wanted to see Trey succeed. If you're a 49er fan and you wanted Trey to not succeed from the jump, again, I don't understand those particular types of fans, but I'm not going to tell you how to fan either. I'm personally a 49er fan, so my expectation is that these guys win, and they win football games, and their success for the team overall. But man, it's crazy. Hey, I get it. It's a crazy scenario. Today's an unprecedented day. We've never seen anything like this. Chris says Kyle and John just went all in on Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold. They better be right about it. That's true. That's very true. That is very true. They went all in on Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold. And listen, I understand them going all in on Brock. Brock was the best quarterback in training camp. It wasn't even really close, in my opinion. And that was Brock still working back from injury and still getting settled in and still trying to figure it out. Brock was still the best quarterback in training camp. No one moves the 49ers offense as well as Brock Purdy. And you could see that just in the first drive of the game against the Denver Broncos. He just operates the scheme. He operates the plan to a high level of efficiency. And ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what Kyle wants. And that's what Kyle's looking for. So, man, I get it. Like, I get being upset. I get it all. This is an extremely nuanced situation. If this was a situation where Chip Kelly, like let's say Chip Kelly is here and he drafted Trey Lance and he's benching Trey Lance, yeah, we're probably going to fire Chip Kelly. Like if Jim Tom Sula did this, yeah, we're probably firing Jim Tom Sula after this. If Mike Singletary did this, yeah, we're probably going to fire Mike Singletary after this because he doesn't have the track record. Those guys didn't do anything, but Kyle and John have. Kyle and John have solidified this franchise from obscurity as one of the premier franchises in the NFL right now. And that's just the facts. It's just the facts. I can totally understand if you hate this decision, if you hate how the situation went with Trey, and you're really upset about it. I get it. It's a weird situation. But the fact of the matter is this organization, even with whiffing on Trey and missing on Trey, they still have this team ready to win a Super Bowl. Now, we expect that to be the case, right? Now the expectations from an outside perspective to win the Super Bowl is at an all-time high, right? That's what this is to me. Like I see it in the chat, oh, they better win a Super Bowl. They better win a Super Bowl. I agree. We all feel that way. They better win the dang Super Bowl because regardless of the trade, that's what we've been waiting for. We've been waiting for this team to win a Super Bowl. This ain't anything new. It just puts another set of circumstances onto the situation. But what a wild day to be a 49er fan. Crazy. Isaac, appreciate the super chat, says, and if we trade Lance, some of my favorite players are gone too. Ayuk and more will leave in time. Kyle made them buy into a guy he didn't believe in. I don't necessarily agree with this. Because if you guys remember, I had Brandon Ayuk on my channel. If you go to the homepage of my channel, you can watch me interview Brandon Ayuk right before the Super Bowl. And I asked Brandon Ayuk directly about Brock Purdy. And if you go back and you watch and you listen, Brandon Ayuk is completely bought in on Brock Purdy. All these guys in that locker room are bought in on Brock Purdy. Doesn't mean they don't like Trey. Doesn't mean they don't want to see Trey succeed. Both things can be true. These guys aren't fans. These are their coworkers. These are their friends. So inside the locker room, it's a completely different scenario. They can believe in Brock and like Trey at the same time. That they're not the fan base. They're not the fan base that decides like, oh, you can only like one quarterback. They're not us. They're completely different. They have a completely different set of circumstances that they're working off of. And those set of circumstances are they believe in Brock Purdy. One of the things that Ayuk told me directly was just wait until Brock Purdy gets a full offseason. Just wait until Brock Purdy goes into year 2. What we saw was Brock Purdy thrown into the fire. What we saw was rookie Brock Purdy. Just wait. That's what Ayuk told me. So I don't particularly buy this comment that guys are going to get up and leave just because Trey isn't here anymore. We have to remember these players don't have the same personal biases to these players that we do. They know them personally. So they're going to be buds whether they're on this team or not. Look at, do you guys remember George Kittle and Trent Taylor? Quality time, best friends. Like they were best buds. Best friends. We loved quality time. Trent Taylor, TT, and George Kittle, those two together, always vibing, always doing all this, right? We loved TT. We loved quality time. But guess what? Kyle cut Trent. It happens. It's a business. They don't operate this off of, is this guy your friend? Well, if he's your friend, we got to keep him then. You know what I mean? So I get all the perspectives. There's a lot of perspectives to kind of work through, but just because you're boys, this is business, man. These like Ayuk is trying to get paid. Ayuk could feel terrible for Trey right now, but Ayuk is in a contract year, and his best opportunity to make money is this year with Brock Purdy. So at the end of the day, that's what it is. Like, that's what it is. I understand like personal feelings that you might have, but this is a business for these guys at the end of the day. This is about making money. This is about supporting your family and supporting yourself. So that's the way I look at it. Shadow Hog, appreciate the super chat, says, which team would realistically trade for him and how would his rookie cap numbers come into play? I don't know. Who do you think right now would be one of the best suitors for Trey Lance in a potential trade? Remember, Michael Silver talked about this offseason that the best that the 49ers got was a 5th round draft pick back around the combine. So as a result, what would Trey get now? Now they've got some additional tape. Again, he had a somewhat poor performance against the Raiders. He bounced back against the Denver Broncos. Still a bit rocky in both showings, but what are they trading for him? Remember, a team is going to have to decide at the beginning of next year if they're going to be able to pick up his 5th-year option. So there's a bit of a timing element to this. There's a bit of a timing element to this. They got to determine um, who is willing to take him on and potentially pick up his fifth-year option. So, man. So speaking about teams, cap space, the 49ers could probably work some magic. They could potentially eat some of his money. They could make it easier to facilitate a trade potentially from a financial standpoint. So I'm not a big cap person, so I'm not going to pretend to give you any expert analysis on how the cap works. My understanding is Trey's sitting at about a $10 million cap hit right now. I'd assume that the team who trades for him has to take that on. I don't know what the I could technically actually just look it up right now. Hold on, let me look it up. Let me get uh, Trey Lance's numbers right in front of me. It'll take me about 15 more seconds. So it does appear that Trey Lance carries a dead cap hit. Ooh. So Trey Lance's dead cap hit would be 20 million this year. 20 million in dead cap from Trey Lance this year. 2024, it drops down to 10 million in dead cap, which when dead cap means this money's not going anywhere. If he's on the roster, he's off the roster. If he's traded, if he's cut, that money is going against your cap no matter what. So 20 million. So the 49ers are on the hook no matter what for a $20 million dead cap. But his overall cap hit is 9.3 million, and then it jumps to 10.8 million next year. Ian Rappaport tweeting about this right now. Perfect timing from Rap Sheet today. As we're talking about possible options for Trey Lance. This is from Rap Sheet just now. As the 49ers weigh options for Trey Lance, calling his hometown team, the Vikings, who are a rumored destination before the draft, makes sense. Nothing is impossible, but Minnesota has a backup in Nick Mullins and drafted rookie quarterback Jaren Hall. Post-draft, these deals are harder. So I've seen a lot of people talking about possible trade scenarios or where he would go. Minnesota has always been a natural destination. One of the problems with that, though, so obviously they're out on Kirk Cousins after this year. The Minnesota Vikings are out on Kirk Cousins after this season. So the Vikings are probably going to win a decent amount of football games, which is going to put them out of reach for a potential high draft pick quarterback. So that's one thing to consider. The other thing to consider is their backups is Jaren Hall, who is a BYU quarterback rookie, and Nick Mullins. Neither of those guys look like the future of the franchise, in my opinion. So the 49ers, and we do know Trey Lance is from that area and is beloved in that area. From playing at North Dakota State, they love him. His former high school wasn't too far. Again, I was in Eagan, Minnesota for joint practices last year. They brought Trey Lance's old football team out. And Trey Lance went and met with all of them after joint practices. Like Trey has real footing of support in Minnesota. Like the people of Minnesota love Trey Lance. So this isn't like you would have to convince the fan base. The fan base would be for Trey Lance in Minnesota. And there's a natural opportunity with Kirk Cousins potentially not being there. God. Could you see a scenario where Kyle Shanahan somehow tries to leverage Kirk Cousins in a trade for Trey Lance? I guarantee you it would be a conversation. But that does seem like a really natural fit. The reason why I said it might be a problem is because during those joint practices last year, Trey didn't play that well. He had moments, but he was overall inconsistent last year. And the Vikings got to see it up close and personal when he was the starter for the 49ers. So they also have really good in-depth. They've actually been on site to watch Trey play, and Trey didn't have a phenomenal training camp last year. So that I don't know if that would hinder any potential trade value because they could hold that over their head. But I don't know. Other teams, what other teams? I saw someone talking about the Bucks. He's going to Tennessee. I wouldn't say Tennessee, man. They've got enough quarterbacks. They've got two developmental guys in Will Levis and Malik Willis behind Ryan Tannehill. I just don't see them adding a third. That doesn't make any sense to me. What other spots? The Buccaneers, Kyle Trask ain't it. I really don't think Kyle Trask is a good quarterback. He lost out the competition to Baker Mayfield. I believe Baker Mayfield's on a 1-year deal. So if the Bucks wanted to get some backup, security for a value, that could definitely be an option for sure. I do want to. I do want to talk about this though. I watched Hard Knocks last night. And I found myself smiling from ear to ear watching Zach Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. Like that to me is real mentorship. What Aaron Rodgers right now is doing with Zach Wilson, and like you could tell Zach early on was in his head, and again put the weight of the world on him, and was pressing and doing all those types of things. Watching Zach Wilson and Aaron Rodgers, like Zach's going to be all right. I think Zach's going to be all right. I think him sitting behind Aaron Rodgers for a year or two is going to be beneficial for him. The Falcons for sure. I could see the Falcons being a team that the 49ers could maybe potentially get a trade with Desmond Ritter. But Desmond Ritter and Trey Lance are pretty similar quarterbacks, to be honest. So we'll see what that looks like. What other teams need quarterbacks? Let me see if I can find a 2024 free agent list, because I think that's a big part of it. 2024 free agent quarterbacks. All right. So in 2024, Kirk Cousins will be a free agent. Ryan Tannehill will be a free agent. But again, like I said, I don't love the fit with Tennessee because they already got two developmental guys behind him. Baker Mayfield will be a free agent, so Tampa Bay could definitely be an option. I wonder if Arizona would overpay for Trey, because I don't think the 49ers would want to trade Trey Lance in division, but would Arizona potentially provide the highest value because they know it would cost a little bit more to trade within division, and they don't seem too happy with Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray definitely could be on his way out. So, and they paid Kyler a ton of money. It gives them some options, but they did draft Clayton Tune, and I personally like Clayton Tune. He's kind of a Brock Purdy type. So they're trying to find their own Brock Purdy. The Raiders at one point were a team that was discussed, but I think we saw really, really early on in that Raiders game, and what we've continued to see, Aiden O'Connell is a nice quarterback. I don't think the Raiders are going to trade for Trey Lance. They got Aiden O'Connell. Aiden looks like the real deal. So I don't think that's going to happen. Outside of that, there really aren't too many starting jobs. Again, Minnesota's probably the best fit. But the problem with the 49ers is I don't think there's going to be too much of a bidding war. So if there were multiple teams that could be interested, that would drive up the price. But I don't see a scenario where multiple teams are going to be knocking down the door for Trey Lance. Again, I see 3 starters that are going to be free agents after this year: Kirk Cousins, Ryan Tannehill, and Baker Mayfield. So I would say if I had to pick best spots, number 1 would be Minnesota. Number 2 would be Bucks. Outside of that, it's not a lot of options, to be honest. And again, Ritter, Trey Lance, they feel Spider-Man emoji point. They feel like the same guy. So I don't know. I couldn't see why the Falcons would trade for him, because it just feels like the same guy. It's like you're trading for the same person. You're taking away belief from Ritter, and you're going to hurt Ritter's development. So I don't really see that as an option, because what the Falcons have the ability to, if Ritter doesn't play well, guess what they can do? They could turn around and draft a quarterback high. So I would say from the business side of it, Falcons probably don't. So yeah, let's see. I've got a couple more super chats. Shout out to you guys sending super chats. I want to get to all these. Christian, appreciate you sending the 2-piece. Appreciate you. Roberto, appreciate the super chat. Says Kyle and John just heated up their own seats. Let's go get 6. Again, I think from a fan perspective, the seat is a little warm for sure. I would agree with that. I would agree that the fan base is going to be on Kyle's and John's neck after this. I'm not going to dispute that. They are going to be in the crosshairs anytime anytime Brock loses again. Then see, this is a thing that we haven't talked about this situation yet, is that Brock is going to take strays from this. So I feel better with Brock. I feel like Brock is so mentally just strong and stout, and I don't think he can be phased like that, which is a big reason why he's had so much success early on, is because he has the mental intangible, and it's at one of the highest levels you can be at for a quarterback, and why he's had early success is because he has intangibles like that. So, but one of the things that's going to happen if Brock throws an interception, the 49ers lose the game. If Brock makes a mistake, bro, people are coming at Brock's neck. They're already doing it, which again, I don't particularly understand, because I feel like Brock he's not perfect, but he's played light years beyond what the expectations were. And I don't know. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. We'll see. But also on the other hand, if Trey isn't here again, maybe that's a distraction that is removed from the scenario. Because from what I've heard, Brock and Trey are boys, right? Like I've heard that they hung out a lot this offseason. They were going through the playbook together. Like they've been good. They've been homies. So I don't think Trey and Brock are going to be on bad standing, but the fan base, man, you know how it is. You got your Trey fans. Trey fans have been attacking Brock all offseason. That hasn't made sense to me, but you have it both ways. Brock fans been attacking Trey fans. So I think through this all, right, I think it's important as a fan base, right, that we take it in stride, and we just gotta stay focused. Like we gotta focus on what really matters. And right now, what really matters is winning a 6th ring. And let's not be our team's own. Let's not be a deterrent to our own team winning the 6. All right. That's my plea to 49er fans. That's my plea to Trey Lance fans. Like no matter how upset you are by this decision making, no matter how upset you are by this scenario, we still want this team to win, and crapping on them every second we get isn't going to help that happen. So, but also at the end of the day, this locker room might be drama proof from all this. Um, so it might not matter at all. They might just literally just not care because they've been going through this quarterback situation for years now that they might not even care. But I would just say, like, we can be upset, we can not love the outcome and all that type of stuff, but let's also not be our own worst enemy. That's my only thing. Let's not be our own worst enemy. Uh Michael Caldwell says fire a coach and GM over quarterback 2 and quarterback 3 is crazy. Again, I'm more into that scenario, I'm kind of in that realm of like, yeah, I don't agree with firing the coach. I agree that it was a monumental misstep to trade up and take Trey. I agree that that was a huge whiff, arguably one of the biggest whiffs in draft history. But at the end of the day, these two guys have solidified themselves as knowing what it takes to build the organization the right way and put this team in position to be able to win consistently. And I get it; it's not ideal. We all wanted Trey. 99% of us wanted Trey to succeed and be our franchise quarterback and to be the guy and be that. Like I talked about it. I wanted this year to be Jalen Hurts year 3. I wanted this year to be uh like Josh Allen's year 3. I was super, super adamant on focusing on the development of Trey because I knew it was going to take some time. And I really wanted Trey to start as a rookie. And not because it necessarily meant that the 49ers were going to be a better football team for it, but because I knew if they started Trey as a rookie, the 49ers would probably be in a better spot right now for it. Um, Luckily, they got Brock. That's the big outlier here. Is they stumbled on Brock Purdy, and that changes everything. So they were it, but with the way it worked out is that Trey wasn't developed in the way I thought he should be developed, and he has left a lot of room for questions for where he is at. I think considering the circumstances, considering the expectations, and considering what the 49ers are trying to do right now. Let's see. The scariest thing about this season is if Brock gets seriously injured and the Niners are relying on Sam Darnold to help them win a Super Bowl. Yeah, listen. This is going to be a big year for 49ers fans, man. Because we're in a season of high expectation, but also high PTSD. The PTSD that we have from these quarterbacks, whether it goes back to Steve Young getting knocked out and his career ending, whether it's watching Jimmy Garoppolo not run out of bounds and tearing his ACL in the third game against the Chiefs, if it's Trey Lance breaking his ankle against the Seattle Seahawks, if it's Jimmy Garoppolo breaking his ankle or foot against the Dolphins, if it's Brock Purdy tearing his UCL in the NFC Championship game against the Eagles, we got PTSD. There's no getting around it. As a fan base, we have the most quarterback injury PTSD of any fan base, I would say right now, that is out there. So that's going to just that's just going to be a part of our story, our narrative. So we're always going to be worried about that. But yeah, I'm not gonna be happy, you know, if Brock gets hurt. I think the 49ers' best chance to win is with Brock Purdy as the starter. You could see it in training camp. I still believe it to this day. I think their best shots with Brock. Sam, we'll find out. What I will say with Sam is that I think they intentionally worked on him not turning the football over this offseason. And he did a better job. Like, he might not look like the best quarterback, but what you can say is that his biggest issue that he suffers with, which is not seeing the field and turning the ball over, he did get a little bit better in that area. So again, I don't know. I don't want anyone else to play right now from Brock, and that's even with Trey on the roster. Like, that's just how I feel. I feel like Brock's the best quarterback right now. It shows up on tape. It showed up throughout all training camp. There's a lot of promise in Trey's game. We kind of know what Sam Darnold is. I didn't want to see anyone else outside of Brock to begin with. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Waldemar, Niners, I trust the front office. Hashtag quest for 6. Appreciate the super chat. I'm going to keep getting through to these super chats. I'm kind of behind on them, so I'm going to keep working through them. Binyam says trade Grant Cohn and Trey for Arizona Cardinals. Listen, man, you might not like Grant, and you might not like his coverage, but he's got his place here. He's got his place here. He's got his place in this content creator. I mean, I'm fine with Grant sticking around. We might not see eye to eye on almost anything, but hey, makes for good content. Ellis says Kyle watches all 3 quarterbacks every day in practice. I trust him. You guys are wild in the chat. Oh my god. You guys are wild. I'm not going to repeat the comments. You guys are wild. Shout out to Ellis for the super chat. Shout out to Taylor. Allen says Trey and a third for Chase Young. To be honest, I don't see the Commanders doing it, man. I don't see it at all. They're good at quarterback. They're good at quarterback. Sam Howell looks like the guy. I don't think Sam Howell right now he's their starter. He's locked in. He's their starter. It's gonna happen. And they have Jacoby Brissett as a backup. The Commanders have no need for Trey Lance right now. They really don't. So I don't see that happening. I'd love to get Chase Young though, but I don't see the 49ers, or excuse me, the Commanders doing that. Justin says, love how Kyle dodged this yesterday so Ian can tell everyone today. SMH, like he won't have to explain himself on this. Come on, man. Yeah, I mean, listen, man. Kyle knows the media game. He this ain't his first rodeo. Kyle knows the media game. He's just doing what he's got to do. Listen, man, they don't when push comes to shove, they're going to do what they feel best for them and the organization. And that's not always going to be aligned with what fans think. That's a fact of the matter. It's not always going to align with what fans think. And again, I didn't think the 49ers should bring back Jimmy Garoppolo last year. I thought that was insane, right? They brought back Jimmy G. What are we doing? Well, Trey gets hurt week 2, and we actually had to rely on Jimmy. And Jimmy had to win us football games. And then that allowed Brock Purdy to Brock Purdy talks about how he learned a lot from Jimmy Garoppolo. Learned how he did the kind of leadership thing inside the locker room. So that turned out to be maybe a little bit of a blessing in disguise. Man, it just keeps coming. This is according to Diana Rossini just right now. While the 49ers are exploring trade possibilities for Trey Lance, the front office has been shopping him for much of the offseason, according to league source. The team has never received a significant trade offer. Again, the writing's been on the wall. Like, I'm not surprised by any of this. I'm not surprised to hear that the 49ers have been shopping Trey Lance all offseason. But it's also surprising to hear it. You know what I mean? Like, it's a weird scenario. When they brought in Sam Darnold, and we talked about this. When they brought in Sam and they gave Sam that money that they gave him with the incentives and all that type of stuff, we were like, oh. And we knew Kyle loves Sam. Kyle loves Sam. So again, I'm not surprised by it, but it's surprising to actually hear it come out. Yeah. Wow. Whew. What this has been the craziest offseason ever. Ever. Nothing compares. Nothing comes close to this offseason. Nothing. Nothing. Not one. I cannot think of another scenario where, and like there was, listen, I was in Indy. There were some, there were some murmurs, right, that Trey might be getting shopped back in Indy. And sure enough, he was. So, whew, what a day. What a day for Trey Lance, man. This got to be tough for the young man. Just it's all coming out. Like it's all like I'm sure Trey's known about this. I'm not gonna. I don't believe like Trey's being blindsided by any of this. But dang, man, this is going to be the leading story the rest of the week. This is going to be the number one story in the NFL the rest of the week, maybe all the way throughout to the beginning of the season. Because now what we're waiting for is what is going to happen with Trey Lance. That's the whole point of why this is so crazy, is that it's not, oh, okay, Trey Lance is quarterback 2 or quarterback 3. Okay, he lost to Sam Darnold. No, it's Sam Darnold is cornerback 2, and they've been trying to trade Trey Lance for the entire offseason, which tells you they have already been out on Trey Lance for the entire offseason. And so this quarterback competition, was it really a quarterback competition? That's, I think, the question that we ask now. Was this really a quarterback competition for quarterback 2? Or was Sam Darnold basically just coming in to just be quarterback 2? Whew! This is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy, man. Dude, I can't I cannot place another time watching this from another I've never seen anything like this. 49ers have been reportedly attempting to trade Trey Lance for the majority of the offseason per Deanna Rossini. Shoo! Someone said we need the Bosa news. This is a nice distraction from the Bosa. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't openly said this conspiracy theory, but I was like in my head, I was like, what if they're like, again, this is pure tinfoil hat conspiracy theory. What if they were delaying, they were trying to time up this news with Bosa's contract extension because it would be a jarring blow to receive this news, but then you flip it and then you instantly announce Bosa has signed an historic deal. And then you change the point of emphasis to everyone celebrating Bosa getting signed and softening the blow of this information. Dude, this is crazy. This is crazy. Whoo, boy. Whoo, boy. Whoo, boy. This is crazy. Super chats. Yes, super chats. Sorry. It's like I feel like I'm a dog at the dog park. Just squirrels everywhere, trying to stay on track, getting distracted. Wow. All right, I'm gonna get to super chats. I see the super chats rolling in. I'm gonna get to the super chats. Dang, you guys are shout out to all you guys sending super chats, man. You guys are laying them on me. I'm gonna try to get to them all right now. And again, I can really only focus on super chats because we got over 600 people in here right now. I can only really see you guys are commenting a ton. I'm catching a couple, but for the most part, I can only really get to the super chats. Tia says they better hope this works out. Regardless of talent, we always have injuries. Kyle Shanahan better hope Sam will not see ghosts if Brock is hurt, because if not, somebody's head needs to roll. Yeah, people are going to be really upset if Brock gets hurt and Sam comes in and Sam does not look good. That is a fact. We know that's going to happen. We know people are going to be really upset if Sam Darnold has to play and does not play well. It's going to be a big point of emphasis. Batman, appreciate the super chat, says, why couldn't they wait until Friday to announce who wins quarterback 2 battle? Didn't even give Trey one last shot. Disappointed. That's a good question. That's a really good question. I'm confused by the timing myself. I'm confused by the timing. I would have thought the same. I would have thought the same, the timing, even if they knew already, which they clearly did. That just announcing it after the preseason finale would be ideal from a fan perspective. But clearly they've got this is probably so I don't know. I don't know if this factors into other teams building out their final 53s. I don't know if this is like they want to get a couple jumps ahead of, final roster decisions. I don't know because Trey's going to have to go out and play probably. Now the question does Trey play Friday? If Trey's not practicing today, is Trey playing Friday? Because what if Trey gets hurt and then has to go on IR? I don't think Trey plays on Friday. So maybe that's it. Maybe they have seen enough and now it's all right, we can't put him out on the field because if he gets hurt, then we don't get any value. We can't cut him. We can't trade him. We can't do anything with him. And he's just stuck on IR. So that's probably why they did this now, because this is also going to allude to us why Trey isn't going to play on Friday, which is crazy. Let me see. Let me double check to see if Rap Sheet mentioned anything. He might have. Let me double check about him potentially playing this Friday. I don't see anything of them mentioning his status for Friday. So my assumption would be is maybe he doesn't play Friday because you don't want to risk injury. You don't want to risk injury at this point. So I don't know. We may let me ask you guys this question. Have we seen the last time that we'll ever see Trey Lance in a 49er uniform again? Has that time come? Will we ever see Trey Lance in a 49er uniform again? Let me know in the chat what you guys are thinking. Are we going to see Trey ever again in a 49ers uniform? So far, I see yeses. I see yeses. I see no. No, I see I don't think so. It doesn't sound like it. No. Yeah, Trey's gone for good. I don't think so. I see I don't know. Yes, this Friday. Nope. It's over, Brad. No. Yeah. See, I don't know. We're still not out the weeds yet with this Trey Lance situation because we still got to determine if he's going to play on Friday. If he gets hurt on Friday, like if he breaks something on Friday. So what I think could happen, and the question was, why didn't they wait till Friday? Because they might have to do the Derek Carr thing. You remember what the Raiders did with Derek Carr at the end of his tenure when they decided he's not going to be on the team anymore? What did they do? They benched him. They took him out. The reason why they took him out, they didn't want him to get hurt, and they didn't want to get his contract guaranteed and locked in due to injury. So Derek Carr last year wasn't able to finish the season because of the injury concern of the things aligning of the Raiders were moving on from Derek, and if they put Derek in and he got injured, would have been bad news. So that's how I'm rationalizing this. That's how I'm connecting the dots. I'm connecting the dots as they announced it today because they are preparing to not play Trey on Friday. And Brandon Allen will be your quarterback 3 on Friday. No matter how you shake it, this is crazy. This is nuts, man. This is crazy. This is crazy. All right, I'm gonna try to. I'm still backed up on super chats. I got to get to these super chats. I'm backed up. I'm doing you guys a disservice here. Gold Blooded said, "Thank you for the $10 super chat, dude. I really appreciate that." He says, "This is extreme negligence from Kyle. Sam is a proven bust. How you choose him over anyone is insanity. Add the absolute waste of 3 first-round picks is unforgivable." Yeah, this is a wild. This is the craziest offseason in history of off seasons. This is nuts. This is bananas. Bananas. I'm gonna pull out Gwen Stefani lyrics, man. This is Looney Tunes. This is like draft day. Like this is what you script up in like a movie. Someone said, "What if this is fake news?" This is not fake news. This is all any national reporter is reporting right now. This has clearly been going on for a long time. So we're not out the weeds yet. We got to figure out what's going down on Friday. We got to figure out what's going down on Friday because we still don't know. We still don't know what's going on Friday. We still don't know. As Kyle Shanahan once famously said, we don't even know if we're going to be alive on Friday. He technically said Sunday, but the same thing applies. We don't even know if we're going to be alive on Friday. That's kind of what these vibes give off to me is like we don't know. We don't know. Hopefully this is an indication that Nick Bosa gets signed today. That's what the hope is. The hope is that this timing is intentional, also timed with a Nick Bosa deal to get us to forget quickly about that and talk about something else and talk about Nick Bosa getting paid and kind of redirect everyone's attention towards Nick Bosa getting paid. That's the hope. But man, we still got to pay Nick Bosa. Nolo says Kyle is overrated and takes no responsibility. Tia says, if you don't want him, why are you asking a lot for him? Stupid. He could have been traded for a 5th by now. This is a mess. Trey shouldn't want to come back after all this. After all of this, if a trade doesn't, if I had to put a percentage to it, and you guys can play this game as well, you could play this game as well. If I had to put a percentage chance of Trey Lance wearing a 49ers jersey ever again, I would put it at like 10%. I would have to put it at 10% that we see him again. And this is changing by the minute with the more reports that come out. I don't see a world right now where Trey Lance is suiting up for the 49ers again. I just don't. I don't see it. It's feeling pull the 99% clip of Jimmy. Yeah. Pull that clip because I got roasted on that one. I actually called it I called it a 0.01% chance. I went on the news I went on local news and said there's a 0.01% chance Jimmy Garoppolo returns this year. Well, Jimmy Garoppolo defied the percentages. And that is when, though, to be honest, last year, I stopped trying to predict what happened at quarterback. I stopped. I'm like, this team, this front office, they're gonna do whatever they're gonna do. They're not gonna do what we think. And they've proven that to us over and over again. So that's why I'm like, listen, I'm along for the ride. I'll give my opinions, but I'm not gonna like bang the table and be like, I'm right, because the 49ers have proven time and time again, they are going to do what they're going to do. They're going to do what they believe is best for them, not what they believe is best for the fan base, not what they believe the fan base wants. And they've proven that to us time and time again, and they've been right more often than wrong. Now, they haven't been right all the time, and this Trey Lance situation is indicative of that. But my goodness, this is still wild. Nolo says, where's the accountability? Kyle is the reason this team doesn't have a ring. I think Trey requested a trade. Well, two things can be true. Kyle technically, because he's at the top and he's head honcho. Yeah. So if you want to provide responsibility to someone for why they don't have a ring, for sure, you can give that to Kyle. But while you also give that to Kyle, you also have to give him the same type of accountability that the 49ers have been competing for a Super Bowl for basically the last 4 or 5 years because of Kyle. So you can't just pick and choose the things that you don't like, because every team, every organization is going to do things you like and they don't like. They're going to whiff and they're going to hit. It's going to happen. For every Solomon Thomas, you got a George Kittle. For every Reuben Foster, you got a Fred Warner. For every Trey Lance, you got a Brock Purdy. So that's part of the discussion, is you can hold them accountable for the things that haven't worked, but you also got to hold them accountable for the things that have worked. And there's more things that have worked than that he's missed on. And so if you're going to weigh it that way, that's part of the conversation. It's part of the conversation. Brian says, I knew the second we signed Darnold, 30 minutes into free agency, that Trey was doomed on this team. I'm glad we finally gotten to this point where he may be traded. Kid deserves a real opportunity. Cap is spitting. The writing was on the wall. Instantly. The writing was on the wall. The writing was on the wall. So, because Kyle has an affinity for Sam Darnold. Did you know that Kyle tried to trade for Sam Darnold prior to trading for Trey Lance? There's an alternate universe that exists where Trey Lance is never drafted by the 49ers because Kyle was actually able to get the deal done with the New York Jets in 2021 to bring Darnold to the 49ers. There's an alternate universe that exists where we don't have Trey Lance because we have Sam Darnold back in 2021. So it's been a wild ride, man. It's been a wild ride. And, I've heard a lot, I've heard a lot. And I don't share everything with you guys. I don't share everything that I hear, and I tweet about it or put it out. Like, I hear a lot. And listen, man, I've heard a lot of question marks on Trey Lance internally. So listen, I feel for the kid. I feel for his situation. I feel bad for his developmental process. I feel bad for it all. But I'm not overly like I'm surprised because it's just this is wild and it's actually happening and it's right here in front of us and all this is happening. So that's the wild part, but also like I can wrap my head around this because this is in line with everything that I've been hearing for like the last 3 years. So it's a tough situation, man. It's a tough situation. And I know it's really hard for fans. I know it's really hard for fans to like wrap their head around. You know what I mean? Like it's really difficult. Um it's really difficult to like try to rationalize this and quantify it and make sense of it because you drafted him so high and so I get it. I get it for sure. But man, crazy, 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 crazy day. Jerome says they won't find a trade and have to cut Trey. Casey will grab him off waivers to back up Mahomes. Woo! Oh, do not let Andy Reid. Do not let Andy Reid get his hands on Trey Lance. Don't let that happen. Oh my gosh, don't let that happen. If he gets cut, he's getting claimed. Someone's getting a gift of Trey Lance. I still think Trey will develop. I just think it's not on the time. It's not on the same timeline as the 49ers wanted. And that's their mistake. That's their misfire. Is they went with a super raw prospect and traded the world to get him. And what a crazy day, man. What a crazy dude. This wow. I'm this is such a wild day. Shout out to everyone sending super chats. I'm gonna try to keep getting to you guys. Bass says the timeline would suggest a trade would free up cap and they want to require or acquire more depth at the line. Thoughts? I would be okay with that. I'd be okay with that if you could somehow leverage Trey Lance into like a defensive end. Yeah, I'd be all for that. If you could leverage him into a player, I think I'd like that more than a pick right now because a pick doesn't help us this year. And we got a lot of picks next year. So if I'm going to trade Trey Lance, which is abundantly clear that's what they're trying to do. If I'm going to trade Trey, I'm trying to get a player. And if I'm going to get a player, yeah, I want defensive line or O-line. That's what I'm looking for. If I could get O-line, if I could get D-line or a cornerback. If I can get if I could trade Trey Lance for a cornerback with some upside, I would do that. If I could trade for a nickel, if I could get like a legitimate nickel cornerback, yes, I would do that. I feel good at safety. I feel good at linebacker. Give me a DN. Give me a swing tackle. Give me nickel. Those 3 spots. If you could somehow take Trey and leverage him for one of those 3 positions, I would feel much better about the situation. I don't want to pick. A 3rd round pick is cool, right? 3rd round pick is cool. But I would want a player. I would want a player. Oh. Hold on. Oh, we might have to simulcast. All right, we might have to simulcast. John Lynch is apparently speaking at 2. So we might have to simulcast. John Lynch is speaking at 2. I'll simulcast it so we can react in real time. Because we got a lot to talk about, and I want to hear what John Lynch has to say. So John Lynch speaking to the media in less than 20 minutes. I'll simulcast it So I'll just be able to bring it up and we can keep our conversations rolling. So that's my goal, is to get to all the super chats within the next 18 minutes. All right, that's my plan right now. I'm getting to all the super chats in the next 18 minutes. We're going to cook. John says, going from first to trade, sign he was never good. I mean, again, like I said, I've heard a lot of things behind the scenes. That would be my thought process, is that they didn't think he was where they needed to be. I know a lot of fans have really high hopes and expectations, but just from the things that I've heard, it just feels like he was never in a spot where they wanted him to be. So we'll see. King Geo says, Trey for Chase, get Kirk in free agency, draft the best right tackle. There's a plan for success right there. Let's see. Tonio says, what position knocked out Brock last year? What position knocked out Brock? Who are we relying on to protect Brock's injured arm side? Keep Trey. If we're talking about it came from Tyler Kroft. Tyler Kroft was blocking Hassan Reddick, and Hassan Reddick got by Tyler Kroft, and who was the second or third string tight end, and destroyed Brock's arm. So it was a tight end technically. It's technically a tight end that was responsible for that. I don't know. Technically. Kuana says, I've watched football for a long time, 30 years. I can talk Niner history going way back. As a football fan, not even as a Niner fan, this is abysmal leadership and management. Trey will be on Pitt week 1. Ooh. Bro, could you imagine? Hey, Tomlin and Shanahan are like this. So Tomlin and Shanahan got go way back. But Trey backing up Kenny Pickett week 1. That's crazy. No, but if I had to pick, I would say the number one destination has got to be Minnesota. It's got to be Minnesota, man. It's got to be Minnesota. Minnesota. That's where I think I think that's where it's best for both. Like, it's best for Trey, and it's also best for the team. That being Minnesota, considering Trey could sit behind Kirk for 1 year. They opt to not pick up his 5th-year option if he doesn't play because they don't have enough, but they could have him in the structure of the offense for a year. They could evaluate, they could determine if they feel comfortable with Trey, Jaron Hall, and Nick Mullins next year. I would feel like Minnesota is the best. Is the best spot for him. And you get him in a spot where the fan base loves him already, and it's home for him. I would say them. The Lions, no, they drafted Herndon Hooker, so they've already got their guy. I wouldn't think that. So I would say Minnesota right now is the best. ILC says, sorry, Brad, Bosa's contract won't cover this ish up. I don't disagree. It was more of a distraction is kind of the way I prefaced it. But Super Bowl or bust. If it's bust and things don't look good, we may be in the dark ages again. Yeah, if we don't win the Super Bowl, it's going to feel really bleak. It's going to feel really bad for sure. If we don't win the Super Bowl, but I wouldn't necessarily call it the dark ages. This team is still stacked. Like, they're young in the right spots. Again, we just want to get the quarterback figured out. So I understand that the people being upset about it, and not if we don't win a Super Bowl, people are going to come straight at Kyle. But I think you also have to rationalize, was Trey Lance leading this team to the Super Bowl? I don't know. I didn't see enough from Trey Lance in those 2 preseason games that would make me feel like uh, Trey Lance was going to win the Super Bowl with the 49ers. So that's another way that I think you got to look at it, is what we did see from Trey is we saw improved mechanics. We saw him, show signs that he could definitely be a quality quarterback. But I think what also Trey showed is he's not ready. He's no matter what you saw from Trey, he's just not ready. So Trey wasn't going to be winning the 49ers a Super Bowl. So that's why I'm a little bit more hesitant on, like, we're going to the dark ages. The 49ers have shown that they've actually already got their head above water on this Trey Lance situation because they got Brock. That's the difference. That's how I see it. Michael Caldwell says, let's say we trade Trey and then find a diamond in the draft. Then how bad of a move was all this really? Again, they found Brock. That's part of it. It's like you hear front office guys talk about this all the time. At the end of the day, it's yeah, you want to hit on your picks and you want these guys to be successful and all of that. But once you get into the building, they don't care where you're drafted. That's why undrafted free agents ascend. That's why 7th round draft picks ascend. That's why guys like Talanoa Hufanga becomes one of the best safeties in the world right now. That's why guys like Fred Warner, a 3rd round pick, is the number 1 linebacker in the NFL. That's why guys like Dre Greenlaw, a 5th round draft pick, is a top 5 linebacker in the NFL right now. Like, it happens. George Kittle, 5th round draft pick, solidified firmly at tight end 2. Could argue he's tight end 1 if you switch his offense, if you switch him in offenses. It happens, man. It's a part. It's hit or miss, man. It's hit or miss. And they clearly missed on Trey. And that's what it comes down to. They missed on Trey. And that's not great. Oh, Godzilla's going to piss some people off with this comment. It says, let Darnold cook. Whoo! How would y'all feel to see Darnold cooking out there? Nolo says, I agree, but he takes all the credit but no criticism. I disagree. A portion of this fan base has been trying to fire Kyle Shanahan for like the last 4 years. So I disagree with that particular statement. I believe he gets a lot of credit, and maybe more credit than he's deserving of sometimes. But I think he's deserving of credit. He's deserving of giving the benefit of the doubt on this situation, regardless of how disastrous it is. He's still, if this team wasn't in, if we weren't talking about a Super Bowl as the expectation, and we're like, God, we're just praying that we win 5 games. Yeah, we're probably talking about Kyle Shanahan getting fired, but that's not the case right now. That's not what we're talking about. That's not the situation. The situation is Kyle has put this franchise in a position to win a Super Bowl regardless of the handling of this Trey situation. And that needs to be the takeaway, right? Like, regardless of how bad this Lance trade was and the development of Trey Lance was, they are still in a position to win a Super Bowl. So you got to have it. You got to be able to look at it both ways. There's a lot of nuance here. It's not cut and dry. People are going to make it cut and dry. This ain't cut and dry. Believe me. Shout out to LeBron. LeBron, member for 14 months. I don't know why. This is like the first time that like YouTube has ever shown me that. I know we've had members in here for a long time. But LeBron checking in 14 months. He's been a member of the channel. Shout out to LeBron. He says Trey had to go. Bosa deal and BA going to need to get signed. Trey's cap next year would be crazy. Well, we just looked at that. Trey Lance is going to have a $10 million dead cap hit next year no matter what. So regardless of Trey being on this team or not, from my understanding, he will carry a $10 million cap hit regardless. So yeah. But future years down the road, yeah, they would have had to made a decision if they were going to keep. They were going to have to make a decision if they were going to keep pick up his 5th-year option. That would have been the next one. But shout out to LeBron, man. 14 months as a member, legendary. That's legendary stuff right there. Benny says 3 first-round picks. They need to admit this mess up. I think that's what they're doing right now. To be honest with you. Obviously, we're going to hear from John Lynch in about 7 minutes. I'm going to simulcast it so that we can keep the room open. Because I want to watch it too, and I want to hear what he has to say. They are admitting right now that they messed up. That's what this is. The fact that all of this information is coming out, the fact that Sam's announced the 2, the fact that they've been trying to trade Trey Lance for an entire offseason, that's them admitting that they messed up. That's them admitting that they messed up and trying to rectify the situation any way they can. So that's how I look at it. I believe that today represents them finally admitting that they messed up. Ivan says, what a colossal whiff on a pick. Missing on a first-round pick is bad enough. Adding to that another 2 first-rounders is just laughable at this point. Yeah, I agree. I've talked about it before. I say that the biggest issue that I have with this whole scenario was them trading up to 3 to begin with. I wish they stayed right at 12. I wish they stayed at 12, and I wish they let it play out. That's what I was hoping for. I wish they let it play out. I was a big Justin Fields guy. And that's what I was hoping for. And they moved up. They made the decision. They went with Trey. Backfired. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. Kiwana, I think I'm saying that correctly. Kiwana, that's because you're sold on Purdy. You've internal things. I don't know what that means. Come on, bro. No excuse for not putting everything into developing that investment. They never did that. They're going to regret this. You're talking to the wrong one. I'm not in that building. I was on these airwaves. I was on these airwaves pounding the table for Trey Lance to be the starter year 1. Pounding the table for them to get rid of Jimmy year 1. But you're yelling at the wrong person. I got nothing to do with Trey Lance's development or whatever. That's on them. How many times can we say that this is not a good situation? This is not a good pick. This is not a good scenario. How many times do we have to say that? But it's fine. I get it. People are pissed off, and so they're going to direct their anger at whoever is in front of a mic. Roberto says John Lynch going to announce the trade. I don't know. He's going to announce something. Max said Brad was the one who brought back Jimmy. We all knew. You got me. It was me. I'm the one who went on the news and said, Jimmy's not coming back. And then I brought him back. That was me. You got me. All right. We're almost through. And then 3 minutes, John Lynch speaks. John Lynch going to announce the trade. We're going to find out in 3 minutes. Still looking says fan PTSD is the best line of the show. Buddy is the real deal. Let's focus on keeping him healthy for a full season. Most teams do, but this team seems to not. Keep Purdy healthy and kill the noise. That's going to be the biggest thing. Keep Brock Purdy healthy, man. That's going to. Oh, wait a second. Hold on. Oh. Oh. Update. Unless you guys can check for me, they have pulled the John Lynch live stream. So the John Lynch live stream has been pulled. It is not on YouTube anymore. I don't know if any of you guys can double check this for me and see, but I just tried to go over and look at the John Lynch live stream, and it is not there anymore. I clicked on it because I had it up, and then it said it's private. Then I refreshed, and now it's gone. It's not showing at all. So they pulled the live stream. So maybe they're just going to keep it with they're just going to keep it with reporters. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. ILC says, I don't think Trey would have won us a Super Bowl either. Brock is certainly better now and maybe always. Ultimately, the situation pick is problematic. Thank you. We agree there. We definitely agree. It's not. We're not. No one's sitting up here and is saying like, "Oh, this is a good thing," right? We're not sitting here and saying, "Oh, this is going well," right? So you guys are still seeing the stream up. You're seeing it. Let me see. Because if they do post it, they sometimes only stream to Twitter sometimes. So that's sometimes how they do it. So we'll keep an eye out. As we know, those comments, the comment section of that YouTube is going to be insane. It's going to be insane. But I'm gonna check Facebook. Sometimes they stream to Facebook. Bro, there's so much going on with the Trey stuff right now. An NFC coach lists Trey Lance trade value as a 6th or 7th round pick. Diana Rossini reporting, while the Trey Lance market may be quiet for now, this past spring, the 49ers and Vikings had serious conversations about a trade for Lance, but talks fell apart, according to league sources. Wow. So clearly, the biggest takeaway is the 49ers have known that they've known this for a while. This is the craziest thing. It's like we're all finding out now, but the 49ers have known that this situation has run its course now for an entire offseason. Bro, this is the number one story in the NFL right now. This is the number one story in the NFL. This is nuts. This is nuts. All right. We got a couple more super chats. I'm trying to find this live stream. I'm going to get to these super chats. I'm trying to find this live stream because, man, I want to hear from John Lynch. I want to hear from John Lynch, man. Brian says, Niners ripping the Band-Aid off. It was needed. Now we can root for our team and for Trey to become elite and then come back to the Niners 200 IQ. And that's the way to look at it. That's the way to look at it. It is what it is, man. We got zero control over this quarterback situation. So you can get mad at anyone talking about it, but yeah, I'm not seeing the stream anywhere. They took the stream down. They took the stream down. I'm still looking. Yeah, they took the stream down. I'm gonna even go check their website. Yeah, the stream's down. They maybe they put the stream up and then they just saw the YouTube like chat, the waiting room just melting, and they're like, yeah, maybe we don't do this. they saw the YouTube chat just melting to the ground, and they're like, yeah, maybe we don't make this public. It's on the app. Okay, I'm gonna go to the app. Oh, it is on the app. It is on the app. Okay. Well, let me see if I can do some. It is on the app. So I might get a little. Dang. It is on the app. So if you see, it's on the app. So I might. Dang. All right, let's figure this out. This is like Jimmy 2.0. Goodbye, then back. I'd rather have radio at quarterback than damn. Larry was right at Ryan trade area. I guess they tried to get it done. It just didn't happen. All right. So we do have. So they're doing this. I'm gonna see if they ultimately pull it up on Twitter, and if they pull it up on Twitter, I'll share it. Let's see here. I'm trying to figure out how to AirPlay as well. I don't think my monitors are connected to my phone, and it's not pulling them up. Let me see. I'm going to keep checking the 49ers website. So just like if you're just joining us, it's on the 49ers app. If I can see, I got the AirPlay option up. It just doesn't, it's not listing any of the monitor. I got 2 external monitors, and it's not listing any of them as an option to AirPlay it. But, I might be able to play the audio. Worst case scenario, I might be able to just hold it up. we might be able to rig it a little bit. Let me see here. We're gonna get creative, guys. Anything for the SDS. We're gonna figure this out. We're gonna figure this out. Let's see. We're gonna figure this out. That's upside down. I can now see that. Oh, this is so ghetto. Super ghetto. Where there's a will, there's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. So it's on the 49ers app. Oh yeah, the noties. The noties are coming through like crazy. All right. All right. We figured out it will work. Oh, it's happening. Wait, why is it?
I like complete honesty. I came out to practice. I saw there's only 3 quarterbacks out there. Trey's not out there, so I mean, I'm trying to ask around what's going on. There's not a clear.
Okay, so we got Fred Warner talking right now.
Obviously, love Trey. I don't know what's going on with him right now or what's going to be next, but yeah, we just got to keep preparing, get ready. We have a game on Friday. Keep preparing towards Pittsburgh, getting better, but with QB stuff, I'm honestly not sure what exactly is going on. So,
life in the NFL, you kind of focus on next day preparation and don't concern yourself with
All right, well,
teammates and that kind of thing.
I mean, yeah, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes that you honestly don't even know about. Obviously, there's a football part of it, there's a business part of it. There's things that you can't control and that you can control. My biggest thing is always controlling the controllables, doing what I can to be the best player, best teammate, best leader I can for our team. So we just got to control at this point.
The clear answers you got.
To be honest, I don't really even know. It's honestly just like a cloud right now. I'm not even sure. Like, it was just weird seeing 3 guys out there. I didn't know where Trey was, so and it was not like it was something that had to be addressed. It was another work day. Go out there, get better, and I know they'll handle that however they can handle it.
From Sam going up against him this summer, have you seen progress in the practices?
Yeah, Sam's looked good. I really liked how he's progressed. I think obviously being a veteran at the position, the arm talent is insane. You know, obviously that was the reason why he was drafted as high as he was back when me and him both came out in 18. But yeah, I think he's looked good. I think he's continued to get better every day.
Expand on the arm talent part. I mean,
just being able to make like some crazy looking throws. You know, like some guys can just flick the football with ease, and he's one of those guys. You know, I think his biggest thing is always trying to make sure he's improving on his decision making and getting the ball where it needs to be, protecting the football. But I mean, he can make every throw in the book.
You consider yourself a leader out there in terms of setting tempo and such. Have you seen the kind of tempo, professionalism, everything you want to see out of this camp from beginning to now?
Just as a team? Yeah. I love exactly where we are right now. I think we just got to keep building to be the best team we can for week 1, Pittsburgh, making sure we have the best 53, obviously the best practice squad we can get. I think we've grown as a team, you know, going into that first preseason game against the Raiders. You know, I think that was a good little kind of check for us, a little gut check to see where we were at and grow from it. I like how we competed last week in that preseason game, and we're just going to keep climbing, keep growing.
Other coaches, players have talked about, like looking back at last year, Purdy's fearlessness. Like Debo said, he saw it like the second preseason game in Houston. So I hadn't really noticed it before. But I mean, did that stand out that he was in a situation
Yeah, I mean, I've spoken on it. You guys know how I feel about Purdy and what I saw from him early on. Did I think that he was going to become the player that he did throughout the end of the season and postseason last year? No, I don't think anybody could have seen that coming. You know, the poise and the ability to to play the position the way he did. And so for him, it's just about stacking it, overcoming this injury that he had to rehab and go through, and being, continuing to just grow. He's obviously super young, and I love his demeanor out there, the way that he prepares and goes about his craft. So the sky's the limit.
All right, yesterday in practice, you and Mason got into it a little bit, and then Demo and Mason got into it. Do you look at yourself as kind of the emotional tone setter of that defense, and do you have a certain standard that you want to see the rest of the defense play to?
Yeah, 100%. It's late in camp. I knew what type of day it was going to be going into yesterday. High day, high reps, full pads on for who knows how many days that we've been having pads on throughout camp. So, I just wanted to kind of get guys' minds right for the type of day that we were going to have. Nothing against Mason at all. It's just, me trying to set the tone for the practice and everybody getting each other better. Obviously, like you said, we do have a standard on defense that we need to upkeep, and we just got to keep working. Thanks, guys.
Okay, we're trying to figure this out in real time. I know this is not the best production value you've ever seen. But we're trying to do what we can. Let me turn off notifications. I got to turn off noties. Okay, so we got to turn off noties. Noties are going crazy because the only thing people are talking about is Trey right now. So let me pop these noties off and then try to get it back. So Fred Warner just spoke. I think it's crazy that the players are speaking right now because Fred Warner basically said it himself. He's like, I got no idea what's going on. No clue what's going on. Like, this is unprecedented. Is that it? No. There we go. Okay, I want to try to get full screen, but when I do full screen, it's like it's playing two videos at one time, which doesn't make sense to me. But all right, no one's talking yet. It gives us some time to work on the production value that we got going here. Maybe this will be a little better. shout out my mom who got me this little gimbal thing because it's coming in clutch right now. So noties are off. We got full screen. A little bit better. We got a little bit better focus. So we'll see. All right. shout out Mama Beard. Shout out your mom for birthing you, also a great woman. Hey, mom's got me she got the mic for Christmas. I think this was a Christmas present. Hooked it up with the mic. Also gimbal. So shout out mom, man. She vibing with us. She helped get she got me the Fire Shure mic, and she got me this gimbal that is coming in and insanely helpful right now. All right, so recap if you're just joining us. They pulled the stream from YouTube, which I think is probably a smart idea because the chat was probably going crazy. And so they are streaming it on the 49ers app. Feel free, if you want to go to the 49ers app, I suggest you go to the 49ers app for the best viewing experience. You're going to get the best viewing experience on the 49ers app. Also, just download the 49ers app. I use it all the time. They're always dropping photos and awesome content on there. So I actually use the 49ers app quite a bit. And this is not a sponsored ad. Not a sponsored ad. And they are, I'm just checking to see if they're streaming it on Twitter. They're not streaming it on Twitter either. So, dude, what a crazy, crazy day this is. This is just a crazy day. Crazy, crazy day. So, who else do we think are going to talk? I was not expecting to hear from the players. I wasn't expecting to hear from the players, especially on today like today. And I think Fred Warner summed it up probably about as good as you could. No idea. Like that's like really the hardest part about this situation for the players is they don't make these decisions. They don't make these decisions. They don't do any of that, man. And they're going to be asked about this situation. Fred basically just said like he didn't know until he got out to practice. He said that when he got out to practice, there's only 3 quarterbacks out there. He sound like that was one of the most perplexed I think I've ever heard Fred Warner sound. Like just at a loss, at a loss for words. Like Fred always got something to say. He's always going to figure out how to quantify things. But when we're talking about roster moves and we're talking about those types of things, I don't. He just was like, "Yeah, dude, I don't even know what to say." He's like, "I don't even know what to say." Also hearing that Kyle Shanahan is going on KMBR at 4:50 from Steph Sanchez. So I guess we will hear from Kyle today, but we won't hear from Kyle until later today. So it sounds like we'll hear from Kyle on KMBR. Okay, so this is from Adam Copeland on KMBR right now. He just tweeted this. So he's Copes and Tolbert, I believe is the name of the show on KMBR. Copeland just tweeted, just wrapped up our weekly hit with Kyle Shanahan. He confirmed Sam Daronold is the number 2 quarterback, and we discussed what lies ahead for Trey Lance and the 49ers. Hear the full interview at 4:50. So we will hear from Kyle Shanahan on KNBR. Whoo, boy. Oh boy. Dang, Mike Silver just tweeted, the 49ers made 2 people available to the media after practice, Javon Hargrave and Fred Warner. No Kyle Shanahan. No John Lynch. Seems kind of gutless. Sheesh. 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 Dude, this is crazy. Bro, it keeps going. It keeps going. Like supposedly we're supposed to hear from Javon Hargrave. I don't know. We heard from Fred. Fred didn't say a whole lot. Fred was clearly put off guard. I don't know why any players are talking to the media today. That just seems weird to me. I feel like there should only be 2 people speaking to the media today. Today's a weird day. Today is a weird day. I'm just catching up on what's going on with Twitter right now. Yeah, today's a weird day, man. This is a wild situation. This is wild. I got a super chat from Sean that says, if Trey and Darnold are not separating themselves from each other, how can you put Sam over Trey? Was Sam having 5 over 50 reps and Trey having 4? Who has the better upside? I would definitely say, if you're asking Kyle Shanahan, he's clearly telling us that he believes Sam Darnold has the most upside. Because I believe again, I'm speaking for Kyle. I have no idea. I would assume that I would probably say Sam has more natural talent than Trey Lance right now. But Sam has also proven to be an absolute liability when it comes to protecting the football. And Trey is just, we don't know enough about Trey. It's crazy how this is just a weird situation, dude. All the way around. Like it's titled John Lynch speaking. John Lynch ain't speaking. Yeah, it's done with. They didn't even put Hargrave out. Yeah, I think they realized that this is not going well. I think they realized very quickly that, all right, this isn't going well. We're not even gonna put Hargrave out there. This is an insane day. It was titled John Lynch speaking live. John Lynch is not speaking live today. That's clearly not happening. The live stream is shut down. We heard from Fred Warner. Fred Warner got put in a terribly awkward position to come out and speak to wow, this is just weird. This is weird. I don't like this. I'm not a fan of this. I'm not a fan of this very much. So apparently, we're not going to hear from John Lynch. We're going to hear from Kyle Shanahan at 6 today. Or no, 4:50 on KMBR. This is interesting. This is embarrassing. As I see some of you say in the chat, it's a little bit. It's a little bit. It's not, it's just, man, it's weird. It's officially weird now. It's officially weird. And again, just to replay the events, and you can make up your own mind. We originally got notification that the 49ers were going live on their YouTube channel at 2, and it was John Lynch Speaks to the Media. That's the way it was titled. Then we tried to click on it, and we clicked on it, and then it was gone. So they brought down the live stream on YouTube. They didn't stream it to Twitter. They typically stream it to Twitter. They didn't do that. They typically stream to Facebook. They didn't do that. They streamed to the 49ers app. The 49ers app was titled John Lynch Live. So it was titled as John Lynch was going to speak to the media, but we didn't hear from John Lynch. And then we were told John Lynch isn't speaking to the media. And then we were told it was going to be Fred Warner and Javon Hargrave. We heard from Fred Warner, but then they killed the stream after Fred Warner. And we didn't hear from Javon Hargrave. And then we found out Kyle Shanahan just wrapped up his interview with KMBR, and we're going to have to wait till 4:50 to hear Kyle Shanahan on KMBR. So this is interesting. It's just weird. Like this is weird. This is a weird situation, dude. This is a weird situation. This is interesting. I'm kind of at a loss for words. Like, bro, I mean, I know for a fact that the 49ers PR, they are tight. Like, they're locked in. They have a plan. They've got things figured out. Like, they're very meticulous with how they go about things. So this is it's a little bit off brand for me. From what I've been able to glean from watching these guys do this stuff. They're normally pretty meticulous with this, and that's not today. That is not today. Today's not that day. This is a weird day. It is officially a weird day. This is officially a weird day What is happening? Oh. This is officially a just weird day. Man, we've been on live since the beginning. So we've been on live now for what? We're about 2.5 hours we've been live. So we've been watching this stuff play out all day. So the second that it popped, we hopped on here. It popped, we got on live. We've been talking about it ever since, and as we've been talking about it, we're getting the leaks that the 49ers have been trying to, not only are they naming Sam, but that's the thing. Why was it that Sam Darnold is quarterback 2 and they're trying to trade Trey Lance? Couldn't it have just been we're naming Sam Darnold quarterback 2? What? It's the combo deal of it. It's the combo deal of announcing the quarterback 2 battle, and on top of it being like, yeah, we're also trading Trey. Trey's probably not going to play on this team anymore. And then all the leaks coming out. They've been trying to trade Trey all offseason. They almost got a deal done with Minnesota. Like, it's like all coming out right now. Like, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. It is all coming out all at once. Like, why? Why is it coming out all at once? Is that because the organization is doing it? I think someone in the chat said that it might have been a leak from the agent, which, hey, that's a part of this game. The agents are a part of this. It's not just one-sided. It's not just the team message. There's a player message involved here. Was this a leak from an agent and just completely caught the 49ers off guard? Like, this is nuts. This is officially just crazy. This is unprecedented. It was already unprecedented from the jump. But now it's just like, what's happening? What is happening right now? What is happening, man? Like, I'm not a fan of today. Not a fan of today. Bass says, if I was Trey, I would not accept any trade. I would make them cut me if they don't want me and have my own careers in my own hands. I don't know if Trey has a no trade clause though. So I think that's part of it. I don't think Trey can control that part of it. I think if they were to trade him, they would trade him. And I don't think rookies have built-in no trade clauses. So he would have to go where he goes. But I understand the thought process. Yeah, dude, this is weird. Trey not showing up to practice today. That's weird. This is a weird situation. It's officially weird. Like, I could rationalize it before. Like, I could kind of understand, I could try to make as much sense of it. I don't have to agree with everything, but I could try to rationalize it. Now we're at the point where it's hard to rationalize, like, how how this kind of is playing out. It's yeah, it's like a bad breakup, like, and it's happening all at once, and it's just like, I don't know how to explain it. I don't even know how to explain it. Like, I can't even like be like, yeah, well, it's like there's no yeah, well. It's like, oh God. It's like, oh my God, what is happening? This is crazy. It's like been bottled up all off season, and all of a sudden someone just went boop and popped the cap, and everything came out all at once. This is wild. Y'all gonna remember this day. Y'all are gonna remember this day. This is a day. This is one of those days. Like, we've had a lot of these days, but it's been like it's been like when Christian McCaffrey got traded for, right? When the 49ers traded for Christian McCaffrey, oh, we remembered that. You know, we remembered that situation really well. When Trent Williams signed his contract extension in the middle of the night, and I was on live from like 2 to 4 in the morning, and we were just vibing and having a great time. I'll never forget that day. This is we're going to remember this day for different reasons. This is a weird day. This is a weird day. There's no other way to put it. Like, it's officially a weird day. This coming out before practice. Trey Lance isn't at practice. The first person we hear from is Fred Warner. And of course, every question that Fred Warner is going to get is about Trey Lance, and he doesn't know anything that's going on. And it's weird, man. Well, we are actually supposed to do State of the Franchise today, but Aponte had some stuff going on, so we had to push back till tomorrow. So we're gonna have to hear from Aponte tomorrow. We were supposed to do State of the Franchise, but he had some stuff he needed to take care of today, and so we'll probably link tomorrow for State of the Franchise. But this is a wild day. This is a wild day. Sean says Shanahan officially needs to be put on the hot seat if he doesn't go to the Super Bowl. Deuces. Bass says, what's the narrative if Brock gets hurt and Sam bombs and we don't make the playoffs? Food for thought. What's the narrative? The narrative is the narrative is quest for 6 with Brandon Allen. That's the narrative. It's quest for 6 with Brandon Allen. Yeah, dude. I don't even want to think about that. That makes me sick to my stomach. Makes me sick to my stomach to think that, you know, what happens if Brock gets hurt. All that stuff. That makes me sick. Renee says, John Lynch was supposed to speak to the media today at 2 p.m. The 49ers then took it down from YouTube. Yep. We were all over that. We've been all over that, and it definitely made the situation a little weirder. I'm not going to lie. We wanted to hear what John Lynch had to say, like, because this is such a weird situation. Like, we wanted to know what's going on, because so much information is getting leaked right now about what's happening. We didn't yeah, I don't know. I don't know. They took down the stream. They kept the stream up on their app, but it was titled John Lynch Speaks. John Lynch did not speak. We heard from Fred Warner. It's supposed to be Javon Hargrave. Didn't hear from him. So yeah, it's officially a little bit weird. It's officially a little bit weird. 20M Franklin says, when you break down the timeline, I'm thinking it was a leak from his agent or someone on Lance's team. Kyle just said he wasn't going to name quarterback 2. I agree with that. He did say that. He said that yesterday, that he wasn't going to name who the quarterback 2 was. And remember, like I try to remind people, it's not the 49ers aren't the only people who can leak information. Players can leak, family members can leak. I've gotten a lot of information from family members. That's been one of the crazier developments of, like, running my page and channel and stuff. I've gotten a lot of information from family members. Not directly from the player, but directly from their family members. They'll talk, they'll share information. They'll tell you what's going on. So, and then not only that, you have the agent side, and you have the agent side who is whose best interest is the player, not the team that they're on. So if this was a situation where they told Trey, you're quarterback 2, and we're going to try to trade you, and then Trey tells his agent that, and then his agent's like, all right, bet. Who's to say that didn't happen, right? Like, one of the things that we do know about Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch is they're very direct and open with what they do to their players. Like, so if that is really where their head's at, I'm not surprised if they were to tell Trey Lance, we're going to give the job to Sam Daronold, and we're going to try to trade you and see what happens. And if Trey took that to his agent, and then his agent's like, all right, if that's how it's going to be, then the agents are tied in with the Adam Schefters, the Ian Rappaports, the Tom Palaceros, all these national, like, guys. They get a lot of info from the agent, not just direct from the team. They get it from both sides. These national reporters have a line to walk between agent representatives and front office representatives, and they get information from both. So if that's what had happened, I could see that. I could see that. I think I'm missing some super chats. Let me get to some of these super chats. Grant seems to think it was a leak from the agent. We just talked about that. That's very weak on the front office. I think I missed these ones earlier. I think I talked to that one. I think I got that one. This one says, that's a coward move by Lynch. Might have to do with Bosa's contract and the money. We talked about this earlier. I don't think this has anything to do with the contract. I don't think this has anything to do with Bosa. This is completely isolated from Bosa and that whole situation with Bosa. This to me has nothing to do with Bosa. It's just a similar situation. So, boy, what a weird day. What a weird day. I woke up today hoping to see Nick Bosa news. I was not anticipating any of this news at all. So today's crazy. Today is officially crazy. If you agree that today is crazy, smash that like button. Shout out to everyone who sent a super chat today. Got a lot of super chats today. And today's not over, by the way. We're going to hear from Kyle Shanahan in about 2 hours on KMBR. So keep an eye out for that. I'm definitely going to be reacting to what Kyle Shanahan has to say. So we're going to be all over the Kyle Shanahan interview. I don't know if I'm going to stream it. I might clip some of it and post it. I don't know if I'm going to stream it, but I might clip it, post it, and then react to it. So that might be the way that I'm going to handle that. So, but I would go to KMBR to listen to that because after today, we want to know what Kyle Shanahan is going to say today. Today is officially taking a turn for the 49ers, probably in one of the I would have to say if you're the 49ers right now, this is exactly how you would not want it to go. This is how you don't want it to go. Like this is if you had a diagram like, oh, this is how we want it to go and this is worst case scenario, I would file today under worst case scenario. This has been an interesting one. So we're going to check in with Kyle Shanahan on KMBR at 4:50 Pacific Standard Time to see what he's got to say. And we're going to then react to it once again. I've been on live for almost 3 hours. I need to take a break because I'm just at a point where I'm like, I'm still trying to process this all. It's still really weird to me how this whole situation came about and how it's being handled and all of it. I'm just like, all right, I think I need to take a step back and do a little bit more kind of read through whatever's coming out. And then we'll regroup later tonight after Shanahan goes on to KMBR. Boy. Shout out to you guys for vibing with me. I mean, I've seen a lot of you guys in this stream for the whole 3 hours. Shout out to all you guys. Grab a cookie. I know today is a weird day. Regardless of who you root for, regardless of what quarterback you want, it doesn't matter. Today was just a weird day. We're all trying to process it. We're all trying to work through it. And we're going to see it's not over, though. It is not over, though. So we'll be back later to recap what Kyle has to say. Until then, I'm gonna keep looking for information. I'm gonna keep posting. So stay tuned, stay locked in. Sub to the channel if you haven't. Put those post notifications on because the second something drops, you already know I'm posting. I'm going live. So we're gonna break it all down. Appreciate you guys as always. Shout out to everyone who sent a super chat. Really do appreciate that. But today has been a wild one for sure. For now, I'm out. Appreciate you guys as always. Thank you for vibing with me through these for weird times. Like normally we're here for good vibes. These were weird vibes today. So shout out to you guys, man, for sticking through. And again, we don't like to get super negative here, but there's always a time and place. So appreciate you guys as always. I'm out of here for now. Peace. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it.